Hello, hello. Am I live? Hard to say. Hello. Alright, I think we're live. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you, Frodo Slurry, for the Prime subscription while I was offline. Very much appreciated. What we're going to be doing today is continuing work on like the preset data stuff. Because right now, this is where we're at in terms of the entire UI rewrite. And then maybe one day, and by one day I mean like very soon, we will finally get around to actually rewriting all of this. Or not rewriting all of this, but tweaking the theme so it's not as ugly. Because right now, I can tell you 100% that this is pretty ugly. But it does load in fine, so what can you say? And look at that, you get scrolling for free. All this works. And it doesn't reset your scroll, which is nice. I don't know if it ever reset your scroll ever, but knowing that it just kind of works is pretty cool. It's not pulling any data from my config file. I want to say that it will. I have no idea. I don't think it's ever writing data to the config file, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think it ever has the capability to write, if only because I never built it in for whatever reason. Also, the title for this stream is a little scuffed. Forgot the space. Anyways, we're trying to build out this part, which is the preset view. So right now nothing pops up, which is fine. But the big part here is this config data part. So we do need to set that up at some point. And then also, once the model is loaded, we hit it with a setup GUI node. Setup GUI nodes just does all of that fun stuff. So it looks in the scene tree, looks for everything that's in the GUI group. And I believe, yeah. So for every single GUI element, we do have, we do just programmatically assign it to the GUI group. So here, finish adding toggles. I think this will work. It's hard to say. I hope it'll work. That's how you know this is a well-constructed piece of software. So I'm not sure if it'll work, but it feels right. And that's always what you want to hear. There's a person in a field primarily dictated by logic. Mostly just kind of skating by on hopes and dreams. Hopes and prayers. Nah, if that isn't logic, I don't know what is. So for preset toggle, we just need to do preset toggled, and it's going to be roughly the same logic as prop toggled. We'll hit it with an app manager sb connect preset toggled, whatever this one is, preset toggle. Preset toggle dot toggle, right? And then on preset toggle. I believe these should have these preset toggle element Oh, it doesn't. Okay, I never added it to it. That's good. So we can just do... This will be pretty close, but not exact. So the biggest difference between the two things here is that prop toggle is pretty much the same thing as a regular toggle element, except that it has... It's on its callback, right? It sends out an additional piece of information, which is the prop name, right? Because these all have the same event name, right? Prop toggles and preset toggles will all have the same event names, whereas toggle elements, just your basic toggle elements, will have a specific event name. So it's kind of a weird system. We don't really have another choice. Although, now that I'm saying it out loud, I could have just picked one path and stuck with it, but it's fine. Dynamically generated elements are just handled differently. Maybe in the next rewrite we'll figure it out. Maybe in the next rewrite. So preset toggle element. Let's see, we need to hook up all of this stuff. So we have the preset name, which is the label. When do I set the labels? Okay, so labels are all just kind of set here. So let's do copy node path. I haven't made any changes here, right? Cool. So this is onReady var label, which is of course some sort of label. onReady var last modified label last it. Hello? It's weird. Usually that works. And then finally the toggle, which is just a check button. Hello? You're not gonna give me code completion, huh? No code completion. It's okay. I understand. Godot isn't very happy with how I'm handling all of this stuff, but that's fine. Oh man, I'm so sore. Why? I know why I'm so sore. It's because I absolute brainlet forgot to eat yesterday. And as a result, my body is just trashed after working out. Why did I do this? Look at that. So these should all still be valid, right? Yeah. Then let's see. Prop toggled. This needs to be changed to preset toggled. So there's different toggles. So every single toggle will implement on toggled. Yes. I guess this is actually kind of extraneous. We don't really need to have this part, but it's nice to have. Just in case. You never know. Although this should disconnect itself automatically. I wonder if there's a way to change the pressed value without omitting the toggled event. There must be a way. There must be a way, dude. So we go to, is it base button? Yeah, base button. So pressed, wait no, toggled, omitted when the button was toggled between pressed and normal states. I don't know. Pressed in normal states. So that's tough. Called when the button is toggled. Maybe it might be worth it to instead of using the callback, we just override the virtual function instead. Maybe. Maybe. It might be worth it, yeah? So let's add a note, like note, instead of using a callback, we could just override a virtual function. Actually, yeah, that could work. The more I look at it, the more I'm thinking that this could totally work. Alright, so bonk toggled. And then this is button pressed. Bool returns nothing, right? And that's the thing. So we just do emit signal. Button pressed, right? Then we'll just yeet both of these. Right, so now we're not using the callback. Now we're just using an overrided virtual function for all of these. So, oh no, I guess not. Oh, it's because I have on prop toggled listening to. Well, that should still work, yeah? Now I'm thinking. On toggled. We go into here. Prop toggle element. These are still prop toggle elements, but they're not getting modified. So if we go into GUI handler, boom, 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 scroll container, VBox, built-in props, main light. Okay, so we can check to see. Let's see. Toggle mode. Toggle mode. How do I check if toggle mode is active? What? Check button. Toggle mode. Toggle mode is on, but on toggled. Wait, this is preset toggle. Where's prop toggle? Prop toggle element, and we can breakpoint. Oh, okay, still nothing. Did I spell it right? Sometimes I have a weird tendency. Oh, this has to be on the button. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Because I don't have access to it. I don't have access to it. I could add like a second script just for doing this. Like kind of a teeny tiny script that's on your yeah, so this actually does not exist. Or no, not this one. This function does not exist on this base element. Not this one. It's this one. Yeah. So on this entire element, toggle does not exist. It's only on the button that it exists. And that's what's making this a little complicated. So I could add just like a single script to it. I could add just a single script. And then all it would do would, well, all I would need to do, right, is grab the toggle inside of the ready function and then set the event name and prop name. I could, yeah. You know what? The more I say it, the more I like it. All right, let's do it. So this is, I don't know, this is like dynamic toggle button. Dynamic toggle. dynamic toggle button. So this is check button. Create, and then we just need to, this is just a script, right? And then all the script does is it has two variables. One is the event name, some sort of string, and then two, we have the what do you call it? It's a prop name, or the, I guess the item name, whatever it's associated with, right? And then we can go back to prop toggle element. We'll grab this, copy it over to our dynamic tool button. Look at that. Needs to send the prop name like so, and then that's really it. Yeah. So dynamic toggle button, that's all the script is. Prop toggle element. What we need to do then is we'll do toggle dot event name equals event name, and then toggle item name is equal to prop name. Something like that. We get rid of this toggle part, and we'll add a script to it. We call it dynamic toggle button. You know what? I'm gonna change the name to just dynamic toggle. Or even like dynamic toggle script to denote that this is like just a script. Yeah, it's just a script. So dynamic toggle script, it's just a script, that's all it does. And so if we go into here now, I think we can see here that this will start being emitted. We don't even need to set a breakpoint just yet. Okay, maybe we do. Oop. So it's being set. It's not doing anything, I think. Yeah, we have a few errors, that's good. Cannot emit any non-existing signal events. Okay. Okay, so here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. Get rid of all of this. So then we just have var parents, which should be some sort of base element, right? And then here we'll do parent dot emit signal, parent. Hold on, hold on. Wait, we still want all of this. Hold on. So we need var, some sort of parent, which is a base element. Yes, and then prop toggle element. What we need to do here is toggle item. So toggle dot parent equals self. So we just give it a reference to ourself. Dynamic toggle script. Then we emit the parent's signal. Yeah. See, that might work. That might work. Good. Boom. Okay. Cool. Still a bunch of errors, which is good. Attempt to disconnect. Okay, sure. So prop toggled, that's fine. We can get rid of that. There's a few more, I think, right? Yeah. Prop toggle. So if we get rid of all of these, will it still work? Okay, cool. And I can add a custom prop. Boom, 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 boom. That's we can just load in the entire thing. Oh, hello, Dota 2 attitude. How are you doing, Frodo Slurry? If I gift a sub, does that directly support you? It does, yeah. Also, thank you, Frodo Slurry, for the Twitch Prime subscription. Much appreciated. How do you manage your tasks? Do project management? So that's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. On bigger projects, I try to keep a bunch of I use like a Kanban style board. Oh, and I guess to answer Frodo Slurry's question first, since this I'm about to go on a rant, not rant, but ramble about how I do project management. So if you get to sub, yes, it does. I believe subscriptions I get, well, I guess for tier 1 I get half, so it's like $2.50, which is, you know, not bad. You know, don't feel obligated to give subs. It's still a bit surreal to get paid to do, you know, basically my hobby. But I've been using to-do list, but I'm close to switching to Trello because there's like 30 plus. I don't know. So I can show you also basically what I just did is cleaned up a lot of the toggle logic, which is why I'm kind of playing with the props right now. Now let me show you my to-do list for this project. I also made a to-do list just for bugs. That's fair enough. I don't know, I don't believe in making things too complicated, so this is my to-do list. It's very Kanban style. So it's just, we have things to do, things that are in progress, things that are blocked. Oh my god. What the heck? That's wild. Thank you, Frodo Slurry, for the 13 tier 1s. What the heck? That's crazy. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm happy that you like the content enough to drop some subs. Appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm extremely flattered. I've tried the style you're doing in GitHub even. Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is what I'm used to. I got 40 to-dos. Yeah, that's why I do this. So I actually have 2 boards. So things that are like super long term, I just push onto the next board. So it's very agile-esque almost. So we have a backlog, and then I have like almost like a current sprint, and then a future sprint, almost. So that's kind of how I break up my Kanban boards. If I recall, GitHub added waterfall style projects recently. How do you do a waterfall style project? I don't know. What is Jimmy is the quick iterations with fast customer feedback. Oh, okay, but maybe I'm just doing waterfall. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of how I've always done task management at work, and so it makes sense to me. So you have a backlog, or in my case, we just have just a future sprint and a present sprint. So everything to do, I pick for the current sprint. Everything I don't feel like I can do right now, I just push. I've only made B2B. I've only made B2B as well. But yeah. Frodo Slur, are you using my application in the wild? I would love to hear your story if you are comfortable sharing. It'd be weird if I couldn't just run the product by the customer every day. Oh, absolutely not. I do not run my product. We especially at work, we do not run our product by the customer every day. We do demos on Friday. Or actually, we've been doing demos only twice a month. Yeah, not yet, but soon, trademark. Cool. Well, you know, if you have any feature requests, I wonder if you're part of the Discord, you can just let me know there if you want to drop me a message. Of course, it's a bit biased, but I do place priority on subscriber suggestions. But even if you're not a subscription, or you don't have a subscription, I still listen to your feedback. Yeah, and why not? So, I work in consulting, Dota 2 attitude. So I try not to. The problem with getting constant feedback is it's pretty much that you just get inundated with feature requests. So like, can you do this? Or do you want this? And the answer is always going to be yes. So it's almost like getting too much. The more you expose yourself to feedback in a consulting aspect, the worse off you are. It sounds bad, and that's why people don't like consultants, but example, why is every 2 weeks or maybe every week better than daily? I've been meeting set up for every week formal, but check the site emails daily. Max, I'm consulting also. Oh, okay. Well, maybe you're in a better line of business than me then. Yeah, I mean, we have daily stand-ups, but then that's that's just your, what did you do? What are you doing? Blockers. Daily stand-ups are yeah. Actually, our daily stand-ups, I actually joined the client's daily stand-ups because I guess they just don't trust us. Also solely developing it. No. I don't know. I'm like the only non-rotating member, but we do every 2 weeks or every week because one, there's not too much to demo, so there's no reason to show things to the client. Two, it's an internal, I guess, tool almost. So I work directly with the teams. But basically, I don't know. It's just like, do you want this feature? And people are always gonna say yes. If you're gonna give me free work, I'm always gonna say yes. So the more input you give them that comes directly from you, it's very political, right? You gotta watch what you say, because if you say something that kind of comes down on you and that you're just adding more work to your plate, if people want feature requests, then they can talk to the engagement manager or whatever. I had a major one that took 4 days lately. Most of my updates are pretty minimal. I had a major one that took 4 days lately. What do you mean major update? Are you talking like features that you had to implement and it took you 4 days? Doesn't sound too bad. I've been implementing a feature for about a month. For 5,000 plus 5,000 minus pull request. How nice. Yeah, I don't really have features like that. Our lines of code are usually pretty minimal, if only because we're doing a lot of, I guess, it's like just tooling related. So we talk to, it's integration, I guess. That's the better term for it. And then there's your word of warning: is once you do integration stuff once. You never get out of doing integration work. So, was on a really big payment project. They also told me Tim, don't ever ask the client if they want you to be able to do this. Always go through your team lead first. I was all right. Sounds good. Made that mistake by accident once, and then we had to commit to it. Yeah. But now I'm doing Jenkins, and that's also just integration. So that's just API calls, transforming data, pushing it somewhere else. How neat. What's the thing I'm looking for, by the way? I'm looking for something very specific, but I've just been talking. I'm the team lead, the team, and the developer. I'm technically the team lead, I guess, since I'm the only one that's managed to stay on this long. Config manager, we don't need it. Most of these we don't need. Close everything. Most of my updates are just bug fixes or marginal upgrades to a feature that's getting pushed out. Most of my updates are just, I talked to this other internal team and I got their feedback. This is what I'm gonna do. or I've set up this meeting and I'm just gonna demo whatever we made, or whatever, or I finally got API access. I love bureaucracy, which is why everyone quits. Redeem jump. Oh, you can check it out if you want to play with all this stuff, and also I can just throw you around, completely abuse chat members. Where'd you go, by the way? There you go. Oh, you can be a duck. I'll make me really small. All the software, by the way, even this kind of stream avatars thing is available on my GitHub. This one, Apache 2, so still pretty much MIT, but I think we need another element. But yeah, Dota 2 attitude. Most of my updates are pretty minuscule because, you know, we can't really move fast. I would love to move fast, but we can't. Like I think I mentioned this, I guess yesterday, but my team leads took me aside and they're like, Tim, we want to make sure you're not getting too bored. I was like, please release me from the project. I want to do like literally anything else, but I also don't want to rock the boat since I am, you know, it is, you know, I'm billable basically. Yeah. Billable 100%. I don't want to break the streak. If you're in a team, you can't do 5k PRs. Or you did 5,000 PRs? Or 5,000 line PRs. Yeah. Usually if that happens, it's we're told to go back and break it up into smaller tasks. Or like explain why it was a 5,000 line PR. This will be preset. Yeah, this is basically like a preset button. Preset button input button. Right. And then what I'm trying to do is, we'll go back to here and just demonstrate. So here in the previous version of the application, we have this button which just allows you to save your current settings as a new preset. So I'm trying to re-implement that here. When/if I work in a team, I want to do mob programming anyways. And I'm not sure what mob programming is. +1 to Frodo Slurry. When it was first invented, it was literally 4 people coding around one computer coding. Oh, it's like pair programming, but like a lot more people. I think pair programming is fine if it's like a senior and like someone new. The way I want to do it is 5-minute intervals and you swap who's coding every 5 minutes. That sounds absolutely horrible. No offense. I think I already have enough trouble focusing as is. I don't think I need to like impair myself anymore by continually forgetting what I was doing. Or taking myself out of the action, you know what I'm saying? You're way more focused. Imagine you only... So mom is like going out with friends, pairing as like a date. You're way more focused. Imagine you only had 5 minutes to commit any code. I think I would just like give up. Like, sorry. Like, I'll give it my best, but like, I don't know. A lot of coding is just reading, right? So if I only had 5 minutes to read, or like see if something even makes sense to write down, I think my productivity would just absolutely plummet. So this needs to extend base element. So we have all the requisite things. Boom, boom, boom. For what it's worth, before doing it, I was incredibly not persuaded. After 40 hours, I think it's the best thing ever. And then one person codes, the other person instructs. Yeah, I suppose it's one of those things where I guess you'll just need to try it. I don't know. I've done pair programming as like, you know, I guess an experienced person plus another experienced person, and I thought that was horrible. I think pair programming makes sense if you're trying to, I guess, ramp someone up on a project. So for their first few tasks, you do a little bit of pair programming, and then you just set them loose. So I'm not sure how I would like mob programming. I suppose mob programming might be nice if you're trying to ramp up a bunch of people really quickly. But I don't really, from just an outsider's perspective, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Unready var. Sounds brutal. It does sound brutal. It'd be a huge struggle bus to do what we're doing with most groups. Struggle bus. Now that's a term I have not heard in a while. Struggle bus was like a term like lived. It was birthed and then died within like 6 months in like 2016, at least in my area. We're test-driven developing in mob programming group. I suppose, if you're doing test-driven development, I can see how that would be slightly better if you're just writing a bunch of tests, right? Because you're not actually implementing features just yet. And even with test-driven development, I suppose it is easier, as opposed to what I usually do, which is just start typing and hope it works. I start mob programming as learning on Friday afternoon for like a couple hours and see how people like it. Well, we'll see. I don't really have a team. Actually, I was looking back at like all my previous team members, and this is not supposed to be like a reflection of me, but maybe it is. But pretty much, like out of the 5 people that used to work with me, only one of them is still with the company. I think I'm decently easy to work with, but it's just that everyone who's been on my team has just quit. So, I don't know. It's weird because like, I don't know, I give pretty good instructions in my opinion. I'm pretty lax. I pretty much do no micromanagement. I just, ask you, do you need help? And give me a timeline, and then I'll just leave you alone until then. But I do tend to offload a lot of the bureaucracy to other people, though. I'll admit that is one of the sore points for some people, is that if I have the opportunity to push off paperwork to other people, I will push it off. As far as learning, mob programming is amazing. Yeah. I can see mob programming being really good for, as I said, like ramping up people really quickly. That's why I like pair programming. If you have someone who doesn't really know how the software works, and you have someone who does, then pair programming for, your first sprints or whatever is going to be really useful. And then you can just go back to like, your regular development style. So mob programming is probably a lot more efficient, I guess. I only give help by watching their computer while they code what they're struggling with. Well, you know what, brother? I've watched other people program, or they try to program like, so we have like a Go CLI tool, or CLI written in Go, right? And I've watched other people try to use it, and it's just super painful because they don't know what they're doing. Or people try to, write a Jenkins pipeline, or try to modify our Jenkins pipeline. I'm just like, what are you writing? Is this Perl? Or are you writing Perl? The pipeline's written in Groovy. They say not to give people on your team the crappy work if you're the leader, which is kind of obvious. They will hate you for it. Yeah, well, I'm technically not the team lead. I'm just the most experienced one. There is like a software architect who's actually supposed to be doing the paperwork, but I don't know where they are. So it's just faster if someone else does it. But, that is fair. Pairing would probably never have been invented if mobbing came out first. I like being open with coding so I can figure out if they actually code or not. I don't know. I feel like I can tell a lot better one-on-one if you know what you're doing. Whereas if there's a lot of people, it's hard for me to keep track, but that might be, you know, a personal problem. That might just be a personal problem. Preset input button. So we have our... There is no label here. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, I think. I think knowing if someone knows how to code is really just listening to their thought process. So I think if I'm having to bounce between multiple people's thought process like over and over and over again, you know, ad infinitum, I think it would be very hard for me to tell. Yeah, so this is a preset input button and it does only one thing. Do I want to make this hard-coded or not? Or I could just call this a preset input button element, or just an input button element. Yeah, maybe. Input button element. We can change the name. I give so much benefit of the doubt. I do not. I had a school senior design project and it took me the entire term to figure out none of them could write a line of code. Well, I think that might be a personal problem. I can usually tell, you know, when we start to kind of design a feature, if you know what you're doing or not. Right? Anyone can do, you know, hello world, right? That's pretty easy. Print hello world, something like that. But I think coding is a lot more than just writing stuff. Coding is a lot of trying to design a solution that makes sense and is reasonably extensible, I guess. Or explaining why it doesn't not need to be extensible. Programming sounds a lot like this. Let's see. Be careful about posting links in chat, in other people's chats at least. Fortunately for you, I do not have a bot. Yeah, at the end he asked us, how much would you pay each person if you only had $100 to assign? And I thought, pay me $30 and fire the other 4 members. Oh, you know, I actually have a similar story. And actually, let's watch this. Hopefully it's not porn. Oh, it's this part, I think. Social network. Turn off the audio. We can scrim through it. I watched this movie so long ago. Oh yeah, it's this part. No, this is more like a... Oh, wait, wasn't this like a competition and they're doing some sort of CTF? Hacking CTF kind of thing? I'm trying to remember that part of the movie. No, I'm familiar with like hackathons, right? So hackathons are almost... Well, hackathons aren't mob programming. Everyone has kind of their own tasks, hopefully, or you're trying to help each other up, trying to finish a feature as quickly as possible. Yeah. Science and tech people are very cautious with links. It's called a movie scene. Yeah, well... There's no computer program I've done that sort of like that. I've done something that's kind of like that, right? I mean, hackathons are almost like that, where you all kind of sit in a room or together and you're just trying to bang out code as fast as possible, right? So it's not as dramatic as that. You know, you don't just have people in a circle watching you, but you do have people, you know, trying to race to the finish as fast as possible. So it's a different style. But yeah, when I was still in school, we did a, I guess you could call it our capstone project, but it was really just, you know, writing a web app. And it was we were in teams of 3. Preset info button. We were in teams of 3. And so, of course, I kind of had a feeling I knew who the competent people in the class were, but instead I just chose to work with the people right next to me, and they were just absolutely worthless. Like I had to rewrite the entire backend like the day before, because he sent me the code, and this was still in the times of like, hey, we don't know how to use Git, so here's here's the project, and they just email you it. Okay. And so he emailed me the project, opened it up, didn't run. I was like, why isn't it running? And he's like, I don't know. So what do you mean you don't know why the project doesn't run? It's due tomorrow. So literally that everyone complains about school is same as I respond everyone else, or everyone HTML and CSS try to get them the right code, but they never wrote it. No, you should have seen the code that they were writing. So it's, you know, it's Java, but they were doing like, they had a function that was called like, you know, void display page, right? Whatever. And I was like, all right, that seems pretty reasonable, I guess. And then they just had some code that hooked into the database and then, you know, didn't do anything. I was like, wait, what? What do you mean? What are you talking? So I rewrote basically the entire backend because it just did not work. Also pretty much did not compile either. If you changed anything, it broke, so. And then I think, so I was doing the HTML and CSS because, you know, we all picked roles. I picked last. So I was like, all right, if you want me to do the HTML and CSS, I can do like all the page stuff. The guy who did the database, since it was like a fancy to-do list application, I was like, hey, I can help you write like a Python script to generate, you know, the SQL queries or the insert statements. And he was like, no, you don't have to worry about that. I just did it manually. I was like, how many entries are there? And he's like, yeah, it's just about 500. I'm like, oh my God. You generated 500 SQL just insert statements by hand, line by line, not even like a batch or like you didn't write like a function to do it for you in SQL? And he's like, you can do that? And a guy write uncompiled code about 500 lines and asked me to make it compile. Shocking to how bad at coding my classmates were. I was tech lead. We did not run things as a democracy like that. After that, I would have to assume. I think programming is definitely, or software development is definitely something that needs a central vision, if that makes sense. It just, software does not work as a democracy, unfortunately. Like if you have a concern, I'm happy to hear it, but I make no guarantees as to whether or not I'll actually take it into account, you know, because you need someone to prioritize things, and it might sound bad, but it is what it is. All right, so this is basically just a generic one. So this is input. This is an input button. I suppose if we're talking about just software development, check this out. I'm not sure if you were here for this, but this is how I've started doing my kind of Godot UIs. So the UIs have been, even in the current piece of software. Oh geez, my mouse is also broken, by the way. Sometimes it just does not left click. But yeah, so pretty much everything on this page is already automatically generated or dynamically generated. However, they're kind of hard coded into like each view. So the model view takes care of, you know, set up the left side, set up the right side. So the big part of this rewrite is actually just moving everything to like this kind of XML format so that you can you know, change it at runtime, or not at runtime, but at load. So it's user configurable. And so then we now are single source of truth. So you can kind of see where my head's at in terms of programming. I like having a single source of truth for a lot of things. I've changed. I think my opinion used to be it's nice to have modules that all kind of work together, but now I'm thinking it's better just to have one orchestrator. And then all the others are just worker nodes. And that's probably like a carryover from my Jenkins work. My front end is a mess. It ruins all my testing. Imagine needing a front end. Actually, I I shouldn't say that. I am writing the front end right now. The back end is more or less pretty good. Has a few bugs, but is usable because I'm using it right now. That's interesting. I see a lot of value in declarative layout schema on Godot. Any plans to open source this as a module? Oh, I think I would like to do that. It's a little difficult. Well, actually, it's not too difficult, right? So I can actually run you through pretty much everything that it's doing. So this is the, yeah, from lines 176 to, I can actually show you here. So display layer is awful to test. Yeah, if you want to use like Selenium or something, I think that's what people use. I don't know. I don't usually do UI testing. It's kind of funny. I was pushing some code at the end of the day and my test failed. Very good. It's because your UI broke. I don't do any UI work now. I used to do a lot of Angular stuff because the QA team was just garbage at telling us what the error was. So we would just have to debug it ourselves. Anyways, if you look from lines probably 170, and this is for photo slurry since I guess they're asking about it. So pretty much everything from lines 170 to the end of the ready function is the implementation. And then the resource files are just in the root layer, resources, GUI, and then all this stuff. And there's even this part. So we do have the ability to also attach user scripts at runtime. Which is my favorite part. It works, by the way. So if you want to, I guess it's a moddable, I guess. So you don't even need to re-export the application. I don't know why you would want to do it or what you can even hook into, but I think it'll work. Yeah, I started disabling them and that wasn't working, so I realized they were failing because behavior would change and the code was broken. Another advantage of the TDD, don't need a QA team. I suppose. I think it depends on what you define as your QA team, right? Because I think certain companies define QA teams as like, I guess, kind of like UI testing, as opposed to, or I guess more like business flow testing as opposed to code flow testing. So you would run through a user story and then compare it against, you know, the actual implementation. Whereas I guess some people just don't write their own tests. They have the QA team write tests for them, but I think people don't usually do that anymore. So I think QA is more like, it's not even integration testing, right? They'll do more like BDD tests, behavior-driven development. Which I've also had to do before. Not a huge fan of it. There's company industrial editor who just run with the team plus 3 developers and they mob everything. 6-hour days, 5 days a week. I do 1-hour days, 5 days a week. Actually, let me check. How much time did I put in before? Because I actually log my time individually. I think last week I only worked 6 hours. I might have only worked 6 hours, just in case my employer is watching. That was a joke. Yeah. Team lead, plus 3 developers. I do 6-hour days, 7 days a week. Sounds rough. No breaks. Huh. What was I doing before this too? Oh, I was setting up this part, the input part. So we go back to our GUI. All right. So all of these elements, you can see here, are stored in a big constant called an XML. XML constants, because Godot enums don't map to strings, and I like mapping my enums to strings because I'm apparently like just a garbage developer who likes to use enums as strings. I didn't realize people were against that, but I like doing that. input button. I think I need to double my billing because it's exhausting coding 40 hours a week. Yeah, you know what? I suppose you're only putting in 40. It's not too bad for a developer, especially for like a consultant, a technical consultant, I'm assuming. All right, it could be worse, right? You could be in management consulting just making decks all day. Everyone, it's your worst nightmare. Just making decks. Oh man, like I talked to some of my little brother's friends who are new grads from university, right? And they work as consultants for a Big Four consultancy, right? And they were saying like I didn't realize this is how it would be. I thought I would be doing a lot more talking to people, but all I do is make decks. And decks is you know, it's the industry term for a PowerPoint presentation. And so yeah, I just spend like my entire week making decks. Do 40 that easy. What is it? Yeah, that's a deck, yeah. Like, I've had to make decks before because I kind of straddle the line between technical and business. I don't know. I usually do more demos, which is why I like streaming, because streaming is good practice for me to just, you know, basically write code, demo the application, and then talk about it, and then hopefully try not to let there be too much dead air. There we go, right? So I've explained my mindset before, right? So like when you're giving a demo, or even like any sort of presentation, whenever you like don't say anything for more than, let's say, 3 seconds, right? That's roughly my rough average for how long it takes for people to get nervous or uncomfortable. You know, when people start getting nervous and uncomfortable, they'll start asking questions, which is bad, because it's absolutely gonna derail your presentation, right? You want to have a constant stream, sound confident, and then say we're going to take questions at the end. Or if you have a burning question, you may interrupt me, right? I worked at a company where upper management was just in meetings all day. Yeah, that sounds like my upper management as well. And then that actually sounds like a lot of my team leads, my previous team leads as well. So they would just be programming in a meeting. And I could tell they just absolutely hated their job. Which, you know, I suppose that's fine. That feels like me these days. Gotta love meetings, man. Gotta love meetings. Which means A, you can never talk to them unless you scheduled. Useless meeting. Or B, what in the F value are they adding to the company in meetings with each other? Well, I think the value is in it's in, you know, basically like defending your piece of the pie. Like I get why they're in meetings all day, right? It's unfortunate, but it's because if they weren't there to defend you, you can't trust their manager to I guess, defend your work. So like it's happened before where, you know, someone says, oh, I can't make it to the meeting, and then, oh, sorry, you weren't at the meeting, we have decided to poach one of your developers. And it's like, wait, what? What do you mean you decided to poach one of our developers? And it's like, sorry, those are the rules. I said, oh, okay, well, okay, I guess. Middle management is typically viewed as useless. Yeah, it depends on what they do. If they're just managing other managers, I think they're pretty useless. If they manage your managers and they also help with like dealing with the client's middle management, I think that's actually pretty useful. Yeah, like I hate being in meetings. The client tries to drag me into meetings every time, but I'm like, okay, so you need to block out this amount of time, and also I'm going to add a story to my board, so I'm going to track his time. So if you still want to have a meeting, that's fine, but just know that I'm going to track it. Someone was in a position, they had a planet unit manager under them and a director as their boss, and that was their line of reporting. Oh baby. Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right, right? So a lot of there's a lot of accountability, unfortunately, in big corporations, and I get that. You know, not too much you can do. My boss is continually trying to fire whoever it was, and the director couldn't figure out why. Well, it depends on what they do, right? Do you offer value by, you know, taking pressure off other people? Like that's my opinion of a good project manager. Is if they're able to you know, make lives easier for the developers, then I think that the project manager is doing their job. So it's pretty much like if someone has like a bureaucracy question, take it up with the project manager. And that's pretty much it. Or we need you to schedule a meeting with another team, project manager. If the project manager doesn't do that, then I think they're pretty useless. Or if like your manager, that's what management is for, is just schedule meetings, pull all the correct people in, and then fill out paperwork. In my opinion, but that might be a bit short-sighted. And then this one needs to be line edit. What am I looking for? My boss is, I don't think he ever got her fired. The manager was blatantly in the director's pocket. It was such a bad political move by him. This is a manufacturing company. Oof. You hate to see that. Placeholder text. I never respected her. Report should have been fired. Sounds like everyone should just be fired. Kappa. An anonymous cheer. Oh, thank you very much, an anonymous cheer, for the 100 bits. Also, very interesting to note, I didn't realize bits will just create a new thing for you. We'll call that a feature. I accidentally made it work. How neat. Oh no, bits come as chat messages. Ah. Anyways, thank you for the bits. Upper management encouraged people in that company to hire their French, which caused massive problems. Yeah, well, I think that's kind of how it is. I guess it's like one of the, it's advertised as one of the perks for, you know, for being in the company, is that you can, a little bit of nepotism. Never hurt anybody, am I right? What project are you using for the stream overlay? It's pretty rad, so check this out. I have this, it's called Friendly Potato Stream. It is Apache 2. Friendly Potato Stream, yeah. Oh, this one's actually MIT licensed, so there we go. I thought I Apache 2'd it, but maybe not. So here's a link. It works. You do need to go to, hold on. Let me not display my stream key on the thing. You do need to, please don't display my secret. Is this my client ID? I don't think this is my client ID, yeah. You do need to go to this website as well if you want to use it. So you do need to add the appropriate scopes. So I forget which ones it is. I think you need channel points. So you need redemptions. You need to, I mean, I think the API I implemented right here, it implements IRC, which is, I think it's chat read. Yeah, chat read. And then also channel points, which not too many applications actually implement because it's kind of garbage too. It's kind of garbage. The API is kind of garbage. And I forget which one channel points is hooked into. But yeah, basically caused massive clicks within the company. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's already massive clicks within my company, right? So I do, you know, where the office I'm based out of is, and look at that. See how easy it is to just add more stuff? And I guess if you want to see something slightly cooler, it's just gonna cut me off from that train of thought really quick. But yeah, talking about massive clicks. So The company I'm at, or the office I'm based out of, is a sales office. There's almost no other consultants in my city because I'm based out of Atlanta. So, because it's good for consultants. If you travel a lot, Atlanta's pretty good because you can fly Delta directly pretty much anywhere in the country. But every time I go to the office, everyone's always like, oh, you know, which territory are you like controlling? I'm like, oh, no, I'm a consultant. And like, oh, you're a consultant. I see. What kind of projects are you on? And then you kind of see their eyes glaze over. I'm like, I kind of hate these guys. But anyways, check this out. So because the UI is so configurable, you can just add, you know, as long as it's a simple thing like this, so any of the basic elements you can just copy and paste. If you add another file to your resource thingy, then it should automatically just, it should just work. Actually, let's try that. I haven't tried that yet. So it programmatically generates the views for you, which is cool. Actually, nope, not that. This one. We'll go to GUI. We'll call it model2.xml. Drop all this stuff in there. And then we can just have mapped bones twice, I guess. Why not? I wonder if this will work. I haven't tried this yet. Burb. BRB. Burb. Oh, it doesn't work. How sad. Oh, it's because it's the same name. You do need to have a custom name for it as well. It doesn't take the file name. Oh no. It doesn't work as I thought it does. So model2.xml. Why isn't this working? Alright. These should be automatic, but maybe they're not. So metadata parser. So we have... Oh, because I need to add it to the metadata. I forgot. Okay, so there's also a metadata file that controls the order as well. I forgot. Model2.xml. So check this out. Hopefully it'll work. Yes! Haha! So it just works at runtime. So if you want to add more fields, you can. If you want to take away fields and just have a few like mega layouts, you can. So this is in response to some people saying that my UI layout doesn't make a lot of sense. And then, haha, check it out. If you don't like the layout, you can just change it yourself. It's pretty cool digging how declarative it feels. Thank you. I guess if we're talking about like the technical design, the biggest problem is that we do need to have just a singleton, I guess, event handler. Otherwise, it's really hard to get data out of it. So every single one of these UI elements, whenever you, I guess, do the requisites input thing on them, right? So move model, this emits an event called, I think it's actually just called event. Let me see, input, prop toggle, yeah, it just emits events, and it emits events with a tuple of the event name, which you can kind of see is defined in, not this one, but model is the best one. So we have events. So emits events. Events are caught by the GUI. Then the GUI passes it along to your singleton handler. And that singleton handler needs to have the appropriate thing to handle it, to catch it and then rebroadcast out to whoever wants the data. So the system is a little difficult right now. It's the best I came up with. I probably could just skip the middleman. So I just bypass the GUI entirely and connect it directly to the singleton, the event singleton. And then just have all our signal broadcast, our event singleton basically to, it does all the transforms for you. And the reason why I'm doing this, right? So you can see here that we have a separate signal. a function broadcast that just emits the signal. So you could just call this directly on it. However, there are several signals that do others, I guess pre-processing, if you want to call it that. So when you're setting the file to load, we also need to change a few values here. Or you can see that we're kind of deconstructing the array. So we don't need to handle it on our side. So the GUI doesn't need to handle deconstructing the tuple. The tuple is deconstructed by the singleton. So I don't know. A better alternative would be to not use this callback, because this callback just calls the singleton. But it's a bit difficult. It's a bit difficult. I would need to think about how hard that would be. I'm off the top of my head, I think it's somewhat difficult because we do all of the event hookups. Where do we do it? We do it here. So it's possible that instead of just connecting to the events, we would connect to something like results, connect like events. Well, not event name. It would have to be. Yeah, I guess it would be just events. And then we do like signal broadcaster at managers, signal broadcaster, and then basically try to construct the name from this. So we do a bit of string formatting. So event name, whatever it's called. Something like result.event name, something like that, right? We'll call it like broadcast. Actually, that could work, right? Yeah, that could work actually. That's not too bad. See, this is kind of what I kind of talk about sometimes with my programming style. So I don't do test-driven development. I just kind of talk my way through what I'm thinking about. And then sometimes, you know, that's not a horrible solution. That's not a horrible solution. Yeah. And actually, this could be optimized, so we don't need to have just the same connect thing. So I do it individually since we don't want to connect for some of these labels. So for example, label we don't want to connect. I think list we shouldn't connect either. Yeah. We don't connect to events on lists. Test-driven development is overrated. Yeah, I think test-driven development is good if you already know what you want. Like it's good for like a big waterfall model, I suppose, or if you already understand the problem and how you want to solve it. The problem is that a lot of times you don't really know how you want to solve something, or at least that's how I am. I have like the very basics of like, oh, I want to use this library to do this, and we'll ping off this other thing. You know, we'll send a few API calls, and then we'll figure it out from there. But it's not something that you can really write a unit test for. But if you know exactly what you want to do, right? You say like, oh, I want to query this API. We'll do this. We'll transform it like this, and then send it over here. Then yeah, test-driven development makes more sense because you already know what the individual pieces are going to look like. Whereas, something like this, I don't really know what the individual pieces are going to look like. I have a vague idea that I want to do it dynamically, and also hook it into my config manager directly. But apart from that, I don't really know what exactly I want to do. So I think it's just different styles for, I guess, different problems. Because not all problems are the same, which is, I guess, a fallacy that some people fall into. Right? You need to take each problem as they come, and then, be prepared to pivot when you need to pivot. Which is, I guess that's basically agile, but you know how it do. App manager. So main model display screen. Actually, we're not adding any props. We're actually just adding it to the current VBox. So we're doing VBox call deferred. Add child. So these are going to be the toggle labels. So what I've done in that kind of the past maybe hour that I've been streaming, I created a new element to handle kind of like the addition of new presets. And I've also kind of refactored a few things related to, oh yeah, this part. This part was the big one. This part was the big one. Is the toggle stuff. I forgot I did that. And this, yeah, preset toggle. Yeah, so preset toggle, prop toggle, yeah. So I think we can take out this. So we're no longer using the callback, instead we're using this part. Because the problem with the callback is that we do need to disable it pretty much immediately. Otherwise, you'll kind of run into like kind of double call problem, which is a problem, as previously stated in the name. And so preset toggle, that should be fine. Let me make sure this still works. I've been doing a lot of talking. I'm a little mind flooded by your very generous gifted donations, gifted subs as well, Frodo. But okay, cool. So this still works, yeah. So previously we had to write we had a lot more handler code to like disconnect every single, or basically when you generate a new toggle, because these toggles are all linked, right? You can only have one selected at a time. So there was a lot of handling code to disconnect and then reconnect it whenever you were instantiating the object. Otherwise, or whenever you were loading in settings for the toggle, because otherwise it would then call itself, which was very difficult to work around. Yeah, so that looks good. That looks good. So you can do this, you can no longer click on that. Yeah, that looks good. And we can also change the lighting, but there is no lighting right now. We can load in a new model. Just making sure everything cleans up correctly. Actually, I don't think this cleans up correctly. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't think this is gonna clean up correctly. Wait for it. Looks solid, yeah, so. Looks solid, and then you can see here that the prop didn't clean up correctly. But actually the prop is still here as well, that's weird. Why is that happening? Oh, hello. Raiders, welcome. Thank you for the raid. Code is the end. What I'm doing right now is I'm working on a VTuber renderer in Godot, so that's what I'm using right now. This is the current build. You can find a release in my description below on my GitHub. The code is MIT licensed, so it's free and open source. And yeah, what I'm doing is I'm rewriting the whatchamacallit, the UI system. So now the UI is pretty much instantaneous in a lot of its functions. So previously, when you're using the software, you can see this giant bar down here, which I'm probably going to add back this part, but I'm not sure where. But whenever you wanted to make any changes, you would have to press apply properties, because I thought that was a good idea. But after using it, it makes more sense just to have everything happen immediately. So you just need to press enter and then it should apply itself. And yeah. So there's still one outstanding bug, so we're not cleaning up the props between each, I guess, load. So whenever you load in a new model, it should also clear all the props and try to load in your default stuff. Is there a use case for adding multiple lights and a light manager? I think there is. I would like to add in, you know, the ability to add in, you know, so there's custom props and then there's add in like a built-in prop somewhat. So these are the defaults. You can never get rid of these. So yeah, so in theory, it's not hard to add, you know, more lights. I just need to build it in. Whereas custom props are just like other models. Is environment HDR? It is not. Does Godot have HDR? I'm not sure. I suppose it's possible to make it HDR if it's just kind of built in. But I have no idea. It's one of those things that's I've never really played with it too much, so I don't really know. Yeah, but you can also load in other 3D models as well, but they won't track. And then this feature is actually already implemented in the current build. Sorry, HDR maybe not useful for this though. Yeah, is there an HDR thing? HDR. Oh, HDR is already enabled. What do you know? Hopefully I didn't break anything. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so I guess HDR is already on. I just don't know what it's doing. I'm not too good on the rendering side. I know how to display a 3D model. I know how to, you know, I made the duck myself. So, and I think I did something weird to the material so that it wouldn't, so the material is not affected by light. Yeah. It's a very quality duck. Oh, thank you, thank you. It also has expressions. So this is included as the demo model. If you're, you know, if you're writing your own thing, just know that you also don't necessarily need to have a VRM model. You can just do it kind of like yourself, from scratch, as long as the model is rigged. And then there's an example file here, duck.gd, where everything is just kind of handled via code. And so you can see I'm just kind of moving around textures to do the different expressions and blinking and whatever. So the power is yours if you would like to do something like that. It's actually not too bad. I do need to... It is difficult to write a custom model right now, because whenever you create a custom model and then add a custom script to it, you do need to re-export the entire project. Otherwise, Godot does not know how to, I guess, find all the associated resources, which is annoying, but makes sense. So because you don't want people to like inject in code just at random, especially in games, right? But this isn't a game. This is a, I guess, more of a tool? Would you consider this a tool? Anyways, what I need to do now, I consider it a lifestyle. That's fair enough. It's fair enough. I don't really have a response to that. I don't know. Is being a VTuber a lifestyle? I suppose streaming could be a lifestyle, and then being a VTuber is an extension of that. So, you know, if you want to drink G Fuel all day, that's your prerogative. You can do whatever you want. Is G Fuel like an actual thing? I feel like I see it a lot, and it's like the meme streamer drink, but I've never had it. I've never seen it on a shelf either. So like whenever I'm drinking like, you know, energy drinks, I usually go for, you know, the classic, a Red Bull, a Monster, or a NOS. Don't really see NOS all that often though. It's not the most okay, this part is the important part. It's not the most popular energy drink, NOS. Yep. it. What am I doing? Func. Create preset. Yes. So we create preset. So there's a few things here. Hold on. So we create preset. This is the create preset helper. So whenever we create the presets kind of UI item, so going back to this, whenever you create a preset UI item, that should be created by this giant function here. So that handles everything just kind of like that. Easy, nice and easy. But what I'm trying to do is... Oh, it's the callback. Yes. I forgot. I forgot. Everything is just a callback. I'm very slowly starting to regret the program design. So everything is just a callback, but preset callbacks. Oh, let's just change this so they're all kind of the same. So those are the model callbacks, tracking callbacks, feature callbacks. You know, the more that I've been working with Golang actually at my job, the more I'm coming around to the idea of just the mega files. Because, you know, speaking as someone who has a background in, you know, pretty much entirely Java programming, you know, you have a separate file for everything. And so, or not for everything, but for every class, it's pretty much its own file. And then you just have giant directory trees that you need to traverse. And so that's kind of how I used to structure a lot of my Godot programs as well. It's because, you know, it's what I know. It's what I know. Don't reinvent the wheel. But now, what I know is slowly changing over to be... you know, more Golang, more procedural, I guess? Is that the... Is that the term for it? So now it makes more sense to just have everything in one mega file. Which I think is actually good for Godot, right? Because I think Godot actually starts to struggle a little bit when you have too many files. For example, I think in the current iteration of this program, pretty much everything has a class. Like, I think a lot of these UI elements have classes associated with them. However, the problem with that is that if you ever changed anything or ever changed like a class name, the entire program needs to like re-index every class. That's what I'm assuming it's doing, but it'll like slow down a lot and then it might just crash, which is super painful. So you can kind of see here, now everything is just extending the one class. So there's presumably less to index. And I could even get rid of, you know, this class and just provide like a direct link to whatever we're trying to extend. And hopefully that's fixed in Godot 4. Godot 4, I've tried it a few times, but it's still a little rough around the edges, if you can believe that. Especially around the scripting, which is kind of my expertise. Not too much expertise in rendering. I would like to learn rendering, but it's tough. All right, so these are all preset stuff. So presets. So there's two things that we need to hook into. So it's preset toggled, and then there's the one button called new preset. Well, okay, so this needs to have an event. Since I abstracted this out, I forgot. So we'll call this, I guess, new preset. We'll call it new preset. And then this input button, so we'll go over here. Input button elements. The events will automatically be applied to it. And so there's our events. Emit signal event self. Wait a minute, that's wrong. That's wrong. Give me another element that I can reference. Button element. Events, event name. Okay, so this needs to emit this. So we'll emit a tuple instead. So we emit the event name, and then also the whatever is inside of the line edit.text. Yes. And this tuple is caught by our GUI, right? So our GUI has this function here, which receives all event signals. We check the tuple, or we check to see if it's a tuple or if it's just a string. So if it's a tuple, then we'll check to see if it's like a big tuple or just a double tuple. So if it's a double tuple, that's really easy. We just destructure it like this. Otherwise, we construct basically a slice of that array and then let the signal broadcaster handle it. And so what I'm kind of envisioning is that input button elements, which is just a text edit or a line edit and a button. As you can see, it's an input button. Haha, get it? Naming schemes. I got them. So it should call this one. So this will broadcast out new preset. Broadcast new preset. Yes. So this one needs to be new preset. We map it 1 to 1. And then this will just be preset name. Oh, thank you for redeeming a hydrate. Let's drink 200 ml water. There we go. It's not as nice as having an actual face cam, I guess, to see me drink water, but you can just assume that I'm drinking water. Let's see, broadcast, new preset. So now this will take, let's see, broadcast new preset. It really is just the preset name string. You know, something that a lot of people don't realize, and this is completely unrelated to whatever I'm doing right now, is that whenever you fast, you actually get really, really not dehydrated, but just maybe, well, I suppose you are dehydrated if you get really, really thirsty all the time. But that's what kind of happened to me. Not intentionally. I don't intentionally fast a lot of the time. Sometimes I just kind of forget to eat. But yeah, that was me yesterday. And then today I was just like, man, why am I so thirsty? And like, not in the horny way. I was like, oh yeah, I remember yesterday all I ate were some vitamins. And then I was like, you know what? That's good enough for me. Well, vitamins and, you know, a little bit of liquor, but you know, consultant's drinking problem, that's pretty much synonymous. So now this is hooked up. Now we need to hook up our GUI. Dun, 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 dun. Not here, here. Preset callbacks. So then we have 2 callbacks. We have the app manager, SB connect, new preset, self, and then we just need to handle it on new preset. And a big reason why I'm doing it like this, or the reason why I justified it to myself initially, is that we can have multiple pieces of the application subscribe to these kind of singleton callbacks. But right now it's really only the GUI that's subscribing to them. I think there are a few that subscribe to other ones, like I think model loaded is subscribed to by the GUI and just the like main display screen. I think that's why I decided to go with that. This design was the one case. Alright. Because we have the one case that's true. It's possible that we'll have other cases that are similarly true. But maybe that was a bad assumption, but you never know up until you actually implement it. I don't know if that's actually a true statement, but I like to think it is. You know, it's hard to say if anything's ever going to be true up until you actually do it, you know? So this gives you a spatial, this gives you a base element, yes. And then this one, maybe we don't need this part. Yeah, we can just create it like directly. So preset, preset, preset. Yeah, no, that's on main light. On, where is it? On add custom prop, yes. So new preset is going to be pretty much the same thing. I kind of regret the naming scheme, but I think it just makes more sense this way. It's not you're not adding a preset, you're just creating a new one. I suppose props are also kind of in the same vein. Let's see. Hello, D2, WJ. Hello, hello. How are you doing today? Have a free jump. Look at that. Let's see. So when you add a new preset, what do I need? I already have pretty much all of this implemented. I'm trying to remember what I was doing at this specific point in time. Yeah. So for all the new people here, I have already written, I wrote this application. It is free and open source on GitHub. I'm trying to rewrite the UI since a lot of the UI elements are hard-coded. So it makes it kind of hard to, I guess, redo or extend them. Because otherwise, if you only change one of them, then it's going to look out of place. Whereas with my new system, we're actually using Godot's theme system, which is kind of neat. So this is what the theme system looks like. It's really ugly right now, but I just kind of threw something together really quick. But we have rounded edges, oh baby. So I'm just trying to re-implement everything right now in a more centralized way, as opposed to each of these views containing all of their logic. Instead, we just have the GUI, which contains all the logic. Alright. So we want to have a button. So we press save. It creates a new button, and then it also adds a file to our config. Or not to our config. What does it add? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, no, not model defaults, config data, and then possibly also something to your model defaults. So it's a model file name to a config name, and so your config name must exist inside of your config data. Otherwise, I guess we'll just load in some defaults, which I think we're already doing constantly. How neat. So on new presets, we'll want to do var, let's hit it with var toggle. Yeah. So this is add custom prop, but we don't want this part. What we want to look at is which part are we looking at? This part here. So let's just highlight this. So this is what we want. Not even the pop-up part, actually. We want this part, right? We want this part. So base element. I am copying code, but it's my own code. XML constants. Let's see, this is a, do I have preset? Yeah, preset toggle, yeah, that's what I want. They will pass in some data. So this is some sort of name, and it needs to be preset name. Let's see, I feel like I should do validation as well, but let's do it later. Let's do it later. To do, add name validation if there is a naming conflict. Yes, or if it's an invalid name. But we'll just leave the to-do in there because I'm not really sure how to solve for that. Could be a bit difficult. And then the event is going to be preset toggled. Right. One of these, and then that's our toggle. All right, so why did I do this? Why do we have broadcast custom prop toggle created? And that's so... Oh, yeah. It's because I don't have a handle on all the lists. So I guess as previously demonstrated before, you can have many lists of the same thing. So this is kind of my, this is our model view. And so I could just do this, and I don't keep a reference to either of these lists. So that's why I kind of broadcast out new toggles. No, and hold on. Oh, this is, oh, did I not save? I didn't, hold on. Yeah, so that's why I broadcast out new toggles like that, yeah. So whenever you create a new thing, it just broadcasts out new stuff. So I don't need to have a reference to these. Yeah. Each list just listens for an event, which is a pattern that I like. Alright, so let's do that here as well. So that's custom prop toggle created. It's a little ugly, but I think it simplifies my life a lot. Like there are other ways of doing this, right? So we could like attach a custom group to each of these lists. Since these lists are, by the way, like implemented by hand, so that you only have so many types of lists, but I think that's a worthwhile trade-off. Because I don't see why a user would want to or how a user could define their own list of things using just like this XML syntax. That doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it would be possible if, you know, because you can attach a script to any of these and then load it in at a runtime. But I'm not sure how you would I still don't know how you would implement list logic inside of that script. Maybe you could. I should look into that. That could be cool. That could be cool. And by cool, I mean just like nightmare to work with, but. Alright, so this is custom prop toggle created. This is preset toggle created. And then this is going to contain the prop, or basically the value, right? So we'll do func broadcast preset toggle created. Some sort of value that's of type base elements, and then all it does is it rebroadcasts out this signal. Emit sig. Did I spell signal wrong? I did spell signal wrong. Preset toggle created. Send out the value, just like that. And then here we'll do at manager sb broadcast preset toggle. I spelled it wrong. Toggle created. Preset toggle created. And let's see. Yeah, we'll just send this toggle out. And then I suppose that this toggle just gets stored on the heap somewhere. Try not to make too many assumptions, but I have no idea. How do you handle camera and movements? So let's talk about this really quick. So what do you mean the camera, by the way? So the movements are handled via so there's a face tracker. I didn't write the face tracker. I just wrote like the link from the face tracker to Godot, and then I'm also wrote the mapping onto a 3D model. So you can load in pretty much any type of model that you want. The camera is just, are you talking about like the actual webcam that captures your image? That's handled all by the program that made this all possible is OpenCFace. Written by Amelia. How do you say their name? This person, Emilian VT. Yeah, so I don't handle all that, because that's some smart people stuff. I don't do smart people stuff. I do stuff that are easy. That's easy to understand. Well, easy enough to understand anyways, right? But I mean, we can do stuff like, let's see, this. So let's just load this in. Look at that. Looks really bad, but so you can see that. I think this is my favorite part of the program, by the way, is that if you have a rigged model, it doesn't matter what kind of model it is, as long as it's a GLB, then we can do this turret. Oh geez, neck is broken. And then check that out, I'm now a tank. So for any model that you have, it should just work, I guess. So let's see. I think I was doing this yesterday. So we go to downloads. Let me see. Oh yeah, this one. So had to go into Sketchfab to change a few things, but we can find the head. So that's head 016. So you can see here I'm modifying the head bone. So I do try my best to find the head bone automatically, but sometimes it's just not possible. And look at that. Oh yeah, and because I was messing with this yesterday, it just kind of works. Yeah, for the head bone, do you list all available options? I think it would be nice to have like a drop down. But yeah, no, you just have to look at the bone list on the left, because I guess the amusing thing is that if you want to change your default head bone, you could just make it whatever you want, right? If you, the head bone is considered, or it's treated as a special bone, so like a lot of your, I guess your tracking data is mapped closer 1-to-1, whereas the other ones are mapped with a different damp. There's OpenSea face track mouth movements. Oh baby, I get to show this off again. And this really helps with viewer retention for whatever reason. Not viewer retention, but dragging in new viewers. But I get to demonstrate the VRM model. So let's load that in. Oh geez, neck is broken. So that's the big thing, is that your neck always breaks whenever you load in a new model. That's a known bug. I know how to fix it, it's just hard to fix. But yeah, there's my mouth movement. Got eye movement as well. Some blinking. I do need to write some code so that your pupils don't like freak out whenever you blink. But yeah. So this VRM loading was made possible by the VSeikai team. So I'm using their library for loading in stuff. If I can find it. It's somewhere. But yeah. It's weird. Whenever I stream with this model, I tend to get a higher proportion of newer viewers because they, oh, it's an actual VTuber, and it's like, oh no, it's I just got catfished. It's a dude. Duck over anime girl. Yeah, but unfortunately the duck does not. The duck only supports blinking, and that's it, right? There's no pupil movement. I do have some custom models that do support pupil movement, but I do need to re-export my build in order to have that work. So I think I have some local files that handle that for me. Or I wrote some code to handle like pupil movement. So like, I think on the tank I have something written so that your pupil movement kind of fiddles, like rotates the barrels or whatever, I don't know. The duck is better than the anime girl though. For sure. But the anime girl is slightly more marketable, very sadly. Alright, so this is the new preset, and then we need to do, let's see. Oh, thank you for the bits. I gotta jump off. It was cool watching you work. I'll catch you when I catch you next. Have a good night. Take it easy, Frodo Slurry. Thanks for hanging around, and once again, thank you for the very generous subscriptions. Much appreciated. You know, I guess watch the repository if you want to be notified of when the next release is, because I feel like I'm getting pretty close to a next release. Whenever this UI rewrite is done, then that's pretty much a lot of the hard work, right? Then it's just bug fixing until we can call this 1.0. Because the UI, the config stuff was a big rewrite, and then the UI stuff is the next big rewrite. And then after that, there's not too much else to do, right? Because everything just kind of works. Because I somehow designed it to just be pretty flexible. Looking forward to seeing what comes next. Oh baby. You don't know the half of it. I have bigger plans, but I do need to finish this part first. Like, I think leap motion is in the cards. I think that would be pretty cool. So you have actual hand inputs. I think other tracking backends, so you don't have to use OpenCFace. And whenever I implement that, I'll also have to change the name of the application because it's no longer just tagged to OpenCFace. So I know Google has MediaPipe, which looks really cool. Doesn't really do a lot of pupil tracking, but you get hand tracking for free. So that's neat, I guess. So app manager, CM meta. Is this not what it's called? Anyways, have a good night, Frodo. So let's see. Not app manager, it's config manager, which is here. I just drag this over here. Config data. So alright, that's tough. That's tough. So the reason why this is tough. So we have our preset data. What am I doing with the preset data? I need to store it somewhere. Oh, you know what? I could just store all the preset datas here. So why Godot? So I like using Godot because one, it's free and open source. So the only requirement for using it really in anything that you make is, you know, including their license in it. And so for work, I actually work in a, you know, big open source company. So I think that makes sense as well. You know, you work for a big open source company, you should also try to champion open source whatevers. What about Go? Well, I should say, like, another big thing that is good about Godot is that it has it's very visual, right? And usually you associate, you know, really visual applications with being pretty slow. However, you know, if you really needed the speed, you can, you know, you don't need to use GD scripts. You can use C#. You can use C++, which is a kind of a pain. I've written a few applications actually, using the Rust bindings. So we have Godot Pong Rust, which is, I believe it's still the only example that doesn't use the macros for generating a lot of your bindings, which is why I keep it up. So usually you hide a lot of this complexity with a macro, but I just decided to do it manually for whatever reason. And I also wrote a GIF tool for Godot, so it captures your current, you know, screen input, I guess, and then writes a GIF. Because as it turns out, creating GIFs is very, very slow. So I think I was using a GD script implementation, but that took like a few minutes, whereas the Rust implementation, you know, hooked into Godot only takes, you know, a few seconds. So I don't know. The biggest thing about choosing Godot is that it's a visual tool. So I think working in any visual application, you do benefit a lot from being able to see what you're doing immediately, which is why I like using Godot. You know, you could use Unity, but it's not free and open source. You could use Unreal, but Unreal is just free. Well, it is free as in beer, not free as in freedom. And also it's C++, so C++ is hard. There are big open source companies. There are, you know, there's the biggest one that surprisingly not a lot of people have heard of is Red Hat. Not associated with former presidents Donald. Red Hat has been in operation since, I think, 1998. So if you use the internet, congratulations, you probably are using a Red Hat product. Like if you do online banking, congratulations, you probably work with, probably used Red Hat tooling. There's Canonical, which is Ubuntu. There's SUSE. SUSE? It's not SUSE, I know that. Is it SUSE or SUSE? Who does OpenSUSE or SUSE? Let's see, Mozilla. They make Firefox, you might have heard of it. Small web browser. There's a few. I mean, those are the biggest open source ones, at least. Anything else is not really like worth mentioning, I guess. Alright, Red Hat is awesome. Awesome. Yes. Hello, Moku Moku. How are you doing tonight? Apache? Is Apache? I thought Apache was just an organization. I don't remember them being a company. Is Apache a company? I thought they're just like they're like the FSF, just an organization. And I'm doing pretty well, you know. We've made a lot of progress on this. So check this out. Oh, actually, I'm still using the kind of the old model scripts as well, so get rid of this. Let's see. Oh, so I'm stuttering now. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Finally implemented this. So all these custom props just kind of work pretty cool. We can add in new props. I'm not going to do that right now though, but it does work. Just have to trust me. And also tested this, which some people are here for. I'm not sure who was here for it. But as you may recall, Godot, you usually have to define your UIs, you know, kind of directly like this. So you just kind of build them visually, whereas I have decided to take the kind of strange choice of dynamically generating all my UIs at runtime, which allows me to do something like this to demonstrate, you know, you can just add new things. I actually don't think you even need to change this name. You might need to, I don't know. So if you don't like the built-in views, all you need to do is go to your resources folder, GUI, kind of mess with the ordering, and look at that. Oh, you do need to change the name, but it does work. Let's call it model 2, and then we can just have 2 lists of the same thing, just to demonstrate that we're changing things. So, look at that. So it's the same view with the same kind of data that's all mapped to the same stuff, but it's all user configurable. So if you don't like how I've organized them, you can just pack everything yourself. Which it might be a cop-out for good UI design, but I'm not a UI guy. I'm not a UI designer. I don't do that kind of stuff. It's tough. But yeah, it's designed to be pretty easy. Or I suppose it wasn't designed to be pretty easy. It just kind of It just kind of worked. Thank you, Scoobwalk, for the follow. I don't know, but in my opinion, that's the sign of something that was designed fairly well. Is not to brag or anything, but I don't know. I didn't really intend for it to just work, but I've made it flexible enough that it just does. So that's cool. So what I'm trying to do right now is the very last view that we need to implement so that we're at feature parity with, with this. So right now, the only thing that's missing from the application is the preset view. And so preset views are basically kind of like, you know, options, right? So you can rotate your model. So if you want to have like a side profile view, you can save that as a preset. And then you can have, you know, just a regular view, save that as a preset, so you can rapidly flip between different presets. That's the idea anyways. and it's actually currently broken in the current version, but it's because that version, the current version's kind of prop handling and preset handling is kind of jank, which is why I'm rewriting it. But yeah, for sure though, whenever I get around to like a version 2, I'm probably gonna be rewriting this in like C# or something. There's too many things that would benefit from types, but I don't have like a strong type system to support it, unfortunately. Is it Godot's fault? It might be, but you know what you're getting into, I guess. I should say that. So, bone toggle. No, we should do new preset, metadata. It's this part. So we have preset data. So you want to do this really quick. So we'll do preset data. And then preset name. And then we do need to do name validation just so we don't do like an accidental overwrite at some point. Oh, and I guess also for all the new viewers, I also have a stream overlay. Wrote this in Godot as well, which makes it slightly better than I guess stream avatars, which is what I guess a lot of people use. Because with this one, we can throw you around. We're also hooked into channel points as well. If you have any suggestions for what you would want to see, just let me know or whatever. Only on Twitch. I was working on a YouTube one, or I shouldn't say that. I looked at implementing it for YouTube. So if you look at the code, it's actually stubbed out for YouTube. So there is like a stub. It just needs to be implemented. So YouTube's API is actually really strange for chat, right? So Twitch uses IRC, and you connect via WebSocket, which is pretty standard. Whereas for YouTube, you actually need to you just need to pull, right? It's very strange. Like if I'm remembering correctly, you just send get requests like every like few seconds, and then that's your chat. It's strange. I don't know. So this is base prop. So I do want to implement it for YouTube. I just need to get around to it. Cause I don't really stream too often on YouTube. AKA I've never streamed on YouTube. So it was just a lower priority, but I think if it would be useful for you, I could, we'll look into it. Yeah, if there's demand, it shouldn't be too hard to do, right? Because it's just API calls. And doing API calls is my specialty. I wish I could work on real applications, but that's really all my work puts me on is just, hey, integration work, API calls, get it done. Alright, well, I guess we will. Alright, so we have our preset data. So preset data just contains, a new preset. Let's see. Oh, geez, my back. Been standing up straight for too long. So this one we create prop data, but I suppose it'll work, right? So we'll grab the current config name. Wait, no, preset data config name is equal to preset name. And then, let's see, preset description equals nothing. That's good. Actually, all of these will just equal nothing, right? So we can just bum 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 bum. Copy and paste. And then just kind of zero out these. So these are all empty strings. Hello? Oh, preset.description. Oh, preset data.description. Should be good, and then we'll call this false. Preset data, we'll slap it into here so we have a handle onto whatever data we're trying to modify currently. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not. Let's see. We do need to update the metadata with the config name and the config path. So we do need to, whenever you click on new preset, we can assume that you are saving a new preset. Therefore, we do want to write somewhere. So cm metadata config, I should say. Dot config data. Hold on, we can't actually do that just yet. So save path, save preset. Why am I writing a note to myself when I'm right here? So how do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? Let me see. I'm looking at my current thing. So save config. Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. We could just do this, right? So everything works off of your current config. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. So we'll do app manager cm current model config name is equal to preset name. So this is a new preset, so nothing really to change for the other fields. So these are metadata fields. It's kind of a misnomer actually inside of the config manager. So you have metadata, which contains data about your config files, and then your config file also has just a metadata section, which is a bit garbage, but let's ignore that. So we'll save config. And let's see, what else do we want to do? Yeah, I guess this is it, right? This app manager cm save config, right? Saving config. Does this give me a path? We'll come back later, have some things to do. No issues, no issues. Don't worry about it. Thanks for popping by, Moku Moku. Catch you later. It's also getting pretty late for me. I still need to do my language practice, man. Because I do try to keep up to date with, whatchamacallit, Mandarin Chinese, Japanese, a little bit of Indonesian. Mostly just Chinese and Japanese though. And for both of those, it's also mostly just reading. Chinese because technically I'm ethnically Chinese. Ethnically Han Chinese. And then Japanese because I'm just a huge weeb. Okay, so what if we save config path and we just return the config path? So I can return a string and then we return config path, right? Something seems weird about this. Something seems weird about this. Oh, actually, no, that's not. That's our metadata config. Config data. Oh, and actually, the config data is automatically updated whenever we call save config. Actually, did I accidentally already implement this? What? Did I implement this just way too far in the future and now it just kind of works? It's possible. Yeah. Could be. Could be. Yeah. Actually, now I'm looking at this. I'm actually reading the code now. So that's kind of my programming style. So I don't really actually, I don't read the middle of it. I usually just read like the first few lines and the last line. So now that I'm actually reading it, so updates our metadata config automatically. And then stores the config file using the, the appropriate path. And then also updates your metadata file automatically. Right, so this might be all we need to do. That's crazy. Is this gonna work? Alright, presets. ASDF. Okay, well. New preset data. Non-existent function instance on base GD scripts. Excuse me? What do you mean base GD script? Did I copy the wrong thing? Oh, it's new, not instance. Because it's a GD script file. It's not like a text scene. So presets, ASDF, send it. Finish saving config. It did not give me a new UI thing, so that's a bit worrisome. I think it should overwrite if it already exists though, so that might be fine. Not sure. So presets, okay, you don't have anything. It's all in the GUI handler, so let's see. Let's look at our big list of constants. So preset data. Yeah, so we have ASDF. What do you have? You have config name. Okay, so we created the config. What happens if I just do this again? Yeah? Alright. Cool. So it overwrites. How neat. So it's not adding the toggle because I'm thinking. I'm thinking. The wheels are turning. Oh, it's because I need to implement this inside of list elements. So we need to have a handler. No, we don't. Maybe we do. Yes. Yes, we do. So I need to connect to. Yeah, that's what this is. Yeah, now it's coming back to me. Now it's coming back to me. So if not app manager, SB is connected. What is it called? It's called preset toggle created. Self on preset toggle created. Then we will do, I guess, we'll just connect to it. Like so. And now we need to implement that function. So this is preset toggle created. So we need to listen for that. Preset toggle created. Function, one of these value, base element. And then all it does is we receive every single one of these lists. Just kind of does a blind listen. It doesn't care who is giving it the element. The advantage of this approach is that you can have the same list multiple times. And then it should just work, which is nice. And I've demonstrated that it actually just works as well. So yeah, let's try this. So right now we're not actually able to read our metadata file, I think. Hold on. Oh, because now we have a config. Okay, so invalid get data on base reference. So metadata config. Oh, and this needs to be config data, right? So we go into config manager. Actually, we can just look at it here. So metadata config data, preset name. Wait for okay. Oh, okay. Now this needs to be new as well. This is my favorite style of programming, just running it over and over again until it works. Haha. Is this correct? I'm trying to... is that correct? Oh, you know what? That is correct. Yeah, okay. It's a list, not a label. Boom. Look at that. Just gotta turn it around. So now we have our thing. Nothing happens. How nice. Because nothing is connected to it. Parameter P2 object is null. Okay. 2 objects. So preset toggle. Preset does not have a toggle, by the way. So... oh no, preset does have a toggle. Right? Preset toggle. So this is an input button element. Preset toggle, preset toggle. No, preset toggle. No, that's fine. What's the problem? Bring me back. Oh, hello. No links in chat. Or you can have links in chat, but I don't know what link that is. How do I delete comments? I don't know. Let's time you out and then untime you out really quickly. I had to assume that was a bot. So you have not talked. I still need to. I need to learn how to moderate better, as opposed to just timing out and then hoping that it's good enough. So let's see. Preset toggled. Why isn't this P2 object is null? Oh, you know what? It's null because we need to wait until it's created. I think. Wait a minute. Here. Let me see. You should be able to connect like that, yeah. No, you should be able to connect just immediately. P2 object. Did I call it something incorrect? On prop toggled. Does that function not exist inside a preset toggle element? Preset toggled? No, it's there. So stack trace, list elements set up. No, list elements set up. Then we call set up. List element catches it. Now we have our preset toggle. Preset toggle is set to the correct thing, right? So we go into our GUI. Preset toggle elements. Yep, that's it. Now we check the script, and that should be fine. And then we should be able to... I don't know. Parameter 2 object is null. Parameter 2 object is null. So let's bring me back to Godot. Inside of our list element, our parameter to object is null. Oh, it's the toggle is null. So actually all of these are incorrect as well, because the toggle does not exist yet. So we need to do this. So I'm gonna fix props as well. Then we'll need to do like a get tree yield. Yeah, get tree. No, we'll need to just yield get tree. Or not get tree. It'll be prop data dot toggle. Wait a minute. No. No, that's incorrect. This just needs to be toggle. That's the problem. I got confused. Yeah, okay, now we're good. How neat. Now nothing happens, but that's as expected. And then we can add more presets. Yeah, and then these files will just be in the export directory for now. How neat. Okay, cool. So now the last thing to implement is just this handler function here. So load preset information, and then it should be golden. Yeah, it should be golden. But of course, that's going to be a story for tomorrow. So, because I do have other things I need to do. So, thank you for tuning into this stream. I will be live tomorrow from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, working on this. I'm very, very close to being done, which is very exciting. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. You know, check out the links below in my description. So I have a Discord if you want to, you know, join and ask any questions or feature requests or whatever. Just want to get into contact with me. Have a GitHub where all this code is stored. So this face tracker is free and open source, available under the name OpenCFaceGD. This current build is not, you know, available as a precompiled release just yet. However, you know, you can get the one that I'm currently using for this face tracking stuff. That one's available. Has kind of a very ugly UI, but so it goes. Hey, do you actually use Vim? Oh, would you like to see me use Vim? I'm very familiar with Vim, if you would like me to demonstrate. Well, I shouldn't say I'm very familiar with Vim. I'm very familiar with the command line, and then, you know enough Vim, since a lot of the servers that I work with only have VI and Vim pre-installed. Some of them have Ed, I guess. Almost none of them have Emacs. So, you know, take that, checkmate Emacs. Vim is just pre-installed on everything. Emacs is not. Preset toggle is working. But yeah, if you want to check out this code, it's available on my GitHub under the branch UI Refactor v3. Yeah, but you know, if you want me to demonstrate Vim knowledge, you know, you have go through all of these. You can hit it with I don't know, V, so you can select to the end of the line. Mess with this. Don't actually write quit, or you can search. Oh, actually, this is nothing. Vim project Godot, so we can search for, I don't know, container, and then we can just pattern not found. Okay, container, and then we can. Oh, there's only 2 instances of container. How nice. So we can scroll through using N. How cool. So, I mean, what more do you want? That's pretty much all you need in Vim, right? So know how to edit, know how to find and replace. Don't really do too much else with Vim. I don't use Vim as my main development environment. I used to have more plugins for it, but you know, when you SSH into another box, you don't usually get to take your plugins with you. You can, but it's tough. It's kind of a pain. It's easier just to learn how to use the standard Vim, I guess, defaults. And even then, sometimes Vim isn't available. Sometimes you only have VI. But yeah, you know, join the Discord. Give the whatever these projects are like, or stars on GitHub. So this one's available. This one's also available. Pretty much everything I work on is open source. And actually, everyone is a mushroom for some reason. You can be green shirt. You can be purple shirt. You can be special. Actually, you're the bot. Get out of here. Yeah, you know, give the channel a follow if you haven't already. If you're interested in this kind of work, I also work on video games from sometimes whenever I'm not working on, I guess, my most popular piece of software, which is this VTuber face tracking thing. But do all kinds of Godot stuff. Sometimes do Rust. And yeah, I will see you later. Actually, let's figure out who we want to raid, I guess. Let's not do this on... Yeah, we can do this on this computer. I'm gonna just drag this over here so we don't look at my recommends. Actually, this isn't YouTube. My recommends probably aren't too bad, since I don't think Twitch gives you like customized recommends. If we were talking about YouTube, it might be a little worse. Let's see, let's find someone to raid. Oh, okay, this person raided me before. Get sent. Alright. Anyways. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be live tomorrow from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time working on the space tracker. I will see you then. Goodbye.